So, I've obviously heard this bill already and made some suggestions. Has the department prior to this bill raised any concerns about the level of leachate that has been, say, at Bethlehem or at Turnkey? Or?
Yes, we are, for the record, Mike Wimsatt, Service Director of the Waste Management Division for New Hampshire DES. Yes, we've been having a number of problems with leachate management at a number of our facilities. You know, the previous sponsor mentioned the situation in Bethlehem, and we do have we referred the conditions there to the Department of Justice for enforcement, and that's pending. But we have other facilities. As a result, it was mentioned that really significant increased frequency and intensity of rainfall poses a real challenge for landfill operators in terms of managing leachate. When you design and build a landfill, what you're really trying to do is capture the lion's share of precipitation that falls on that in areas where it will be shunted off to stormwater collection and never contact the waste. That's the most ideal situation, and that alone is a challenge. But you're always going to have a working phase that has exposed waste, or the waste that, you know, the basic precipitation can make its way to the waste, and that's what creates leachate, because as that precipitation gets down into the waste, it interacts with the waste, picks up some of the contaminants in the waste, and then it gets down to the bottom of the landfill, to the liner system. And all those line facilities are designed to collect and move that leachate off the liner system as quickly as possible to sumps where it is collected and basically can be bulked off. And in some cases, some facilities have the benefit of being located near a wastewater plant. They can actually pipe their leachate to a wastewater plant. Other facilities don't have that situation, so they have infrastructure to collect that in tanks and then have tank trucks come pump it off, and then those tank trucks travel to wastewater plants for discharge and disposal and treatment of the leachate. We have had a number of problems with because of the rainfall events and because of landfill management practices, seeing leachate both collect in excess on the liner system above what's allowed under the rules, but also some leachate breakouts at facilities that make their way to stormwater systems, and that's not what those stormwater systems are designed for. And so it's a significant challenge that we're working really hard with our landfill facilities to address.
Do our current rules address this situation, or do they need to be tightened up?
Our current rules do require that every facility have arrangements with at least 2 wastewater plants for acceptance of their leachate. And the reason for that is that we want to, as you can't, because leachate can be generated in such significant quantities, the facilities are not designed to store a significant amount of it on the site. And so you need to be able to have daily, in most cases, for most landfills, daily truck trips to collect that leachate and bring it off to a wastewater plant. In the case where, because something can happen at a plant and it could shut down and say, not shut down necessarily, but say, we can't take your leachate this week or this month. So you need to have an alternate where you can bring it. And in practice, I think a number of facilities have at least an idea or arrangements with more than 2 facilities. The current rules don't require that they provide that information to us proactively, but they are required to have it, and we have the ability to request the information so that we can ask them who are the 2 facilities that you are currently contracted with, and we could ask for the contracts. But this would put really a finer point on that, such that we'd have that information up front before we would give under this bill, before we would give operating approval for a facility. We would have to have that information in hand in our files.
Okay. Questions from the committee? Senator Pearl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Director. Good to see you. I guess my question is, what is the necessity of this piece of legislation? I mean, you have rules in place and a process you're working. Do you feel this is something we need to add to strengthen your tools to address this situation, or are you comfortable with what you have to work with now?
Well, I mean, I think we feel that we can adequately regulate these facilities under our current rules, but I will say that because leachate has become an increasingly difficult problem at these facilities, having explicit language in the statute always helps us from a regulatory standpoint. It's not uncommon for a regulated party to question our interpretation of a rule or our application of a rule. when it's in the statute, it kind of eliminates a lot of that argumentation that might occur between us and a regulated party, because the statute, you know, as we always say, the rules fall in the face of the statute. The statute is the governing construct under the law. So it does provide some strength, I think, to our position as a regulator when it comes to leachate.
Thank you.
So currently, there's, you sent a referral to the Justice Department.
That's correct.
On a particular, because of a violation of a particular rules that are not being, so the rules are working because you can refer to the justice system for people violating whatever's in place at this point. So,
yeah, I guess that's mixing two things. I mean, we clearly, we do have enforcement authority, and we exercise that authority when it's appropriate, and we thought it was appropriate in that particular case. I'm not sure that says anything about whether the rules are working or not. I'm not sure those are the same thing.
okay.
But certainly, if the question is, you know, do we feel like we have adequate enforcement authority to enforce these kinds of violations, then yes, absolutely.
Any further questions? Well done. Thank you for stepping up to the plate.